Every person has a story, but not everyone has a place to tell it. I'm Frank Swoboda. As a filmmaker for over 35 years, I've interviewed amazing people all over the planet. I want you to meet them. This week, the most interesting person you've never heard of is...
My name is Bajun Mavawalla, and I'm the most interesting person you've never heard of because I can say my name backwards. Alawavum Najab. Oh, and I'm running for Congress.
Bajun Mavawalla. I did say that right. Yes?
You did say it.
I said it right.
You got it.
Welcome to the most interesting person you've never heard of podcast. Thanks for being here. And we're going to start out, as I've been doing lately with most of these. You're going to try out my favorite whiskey. Not too far from where you grew up, I think, ish, in California. You want to do the honors? You got the longer arms.
Now this, I did see it said California, but does it say where?
It's in Napa.
Yeah, that's not far from where I grew up.
Is it very far? Way far?
About 30 minutes.
Yeah, I thought so.
So
I got that right. Okay, now, you don't like your whiskey on rocks, right?
No.
How do you take it?
A guy who called himself the Scottish ambassador was one of the police advisors, is what he was, at the British embassy when I was in Baghdad. And he had brought, honestly, seriously, without any, he brought 50 single malt whiskeys to his apartment at the British embassy.
Your taxpayer dollars at work.
Well, this is the British taxpayers. But
yeah, okay.
And I don't think the Crown paid for his whiskey. I think that was
his
incurred
own.
at his own expense.
I would believe that.
But he once a week he did a thing called the Tour of Scotland, where he would invite people for whiskey. I'm still not sure how I got a ticket, but he did ask me to come, maybe because I was working on some police things and came from the police brigade. But he gave you a bit of gave us lessons on the whiskey and how to do it. And first of all, they find us to be savages in America because we do whiskey in shots. And he says, nobody, whiskey is for sipping. It's for tasting.
Well, that's what we do on this podcast.
What we do here is whiskey and then a single drop of water. Because what that does is it opens the whiskey.
I agree with this. I usually do that.
Theory. So can I?
Yeah, go for it. Okay, now we're going to do the Amador taste test with Bajun Mavawalla. Tell me what you think of this.
I'm usually fond of the more peaty stuff, but I doubt that this is going to be very peaty. But let's see what the smell of this one is. So where are we at? Very nice. Also, I noticed it's in Chardonnay barrels.
Yes.
Rather than sherry barrels.
Yes. Aged, correct. They have a more expensive one in Cabernet, but I don't want to pay $80. This is good enough.
So what you're saying, this is a first-rate, second-rate whiskey.
Yes. This is their lower. I like this one, though, actually. I've had the other one.
It's young.
Oh my God, it's young. I don't even know what that means.
Well, there's no way that's older than 10 years. I mean, I
don't think so.
It's very young. So it has a very nice flavor to it, though.
It does, doesn't it?
Now, hopefully there's barrels of it sitting for
aging.
Future generations.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Age. You know how that works, though, right?
No.
On the aging. So what is literally happening when you're aging whiskey is it's soaking into the oak and then going back out, and it's a constant cycle. Now, this is why you get the peaty whiskeys, because there has to be a temperature for that to happen. So on the islands and on the coast of Scotland where it's cold and it's foggy, they would light peat fires.
Oh, I see.
Well, the peat's going from the outside of the oak in, and the whiskey is
really
going
is
from the inside out.
It is really
so it's
peaty.
literally peaty. Now they fake it
Scotch
with a lot of stuff these days.
Right.
They mix the grains with the stuff for the flavor. And that's not wrong. I mean,
Still tastes good. Who
you
cares?
need to be able to afford it.
Right.
Right? But the longer it keeps doing that oak soak, and the smoother the whiskey gets.
Got it.
So if you get Talisker is the easiest example. Talisker makes a horrible 10-year-old, but if you get a bottle of the 18-year-old, you'll be amazed.
Got it. Yeah.
And it's the same stuff.
I think I have actually had that.
Yeah. The difficulty.
So what do you
of course,
think?
is
Just too young.
No,
for
it's
too young.
Well, I mean, I prefer an older whiskey,
Well,
but
cheers
I'm
anyway.
not such a snob that I'm going to turn down good whiskey.
It's pretty good. So you know what? So a little just disclosure. You are running for this Congress in the 5th District. You're the first politician I've ever had that's actually running for office on my podcast.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm
honored. Not that I'm like against it. It's never happened. Maybe that's the reason. You're on here because you're super interesting, and I'll give you your time to talk about the politics stuff. But this is mostly about the interesting life that you've had, and the fact that every time I've met you, we are also, full disclosure, helping you with your campaign because I think you're great, and it's a great story for us to tell. But as we've spent time together, you know so much about so many things. and I'm just going to read through the list of stuff that you are running for Congress.
Are you keeping a list?
No. I'm just saying, okay, you've been a soldier, a diplomatic liaison, an enlisted man, an officer. You've worked in military intelligence. You've been a member of the Pilot Drivers Union. You were a recruiter, a dad. I mean, you've done a lot of things. You are fluent in, well, I don't know, fluent.
I'm not fluent.
Well, you understand, you can speak Russian and Ukrainian, at least Russian. And I mean,
I've forgotten Nepali. I went to college in Nepal, but that's all that out the window.
You've lived in Nepal. Like, you know a lot of stuff about, a lot about a little, or a little about a lot.
Well, it's more like a little about a lot. The different things that I've done, I hope give me a little bit of insight on, how things are in this world. But I mean,
you've had a lot of experiences.
I needed to make my way through college, and I got through junior college working graveyard shift at a convenience store. I milked goats on a goat dairy.
Wow.
I worked on a couple of different veal farms for short periods of time. It's horrible. My recommendation: don't eat veal.
Okay.
Not because of warm fuzzy animals, but because I've seen the way those things are raised, and they're horrible. We're going back 30-something years.
Yeah.
So hopefully somebody
you did what you had to do to get to make a living. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
You've done a lot of jobs.
I've done a lot of different jobs.
What else?
Well, one of my jobs, I spent about a year and a half doing building maintenance in some old buildings in Oakland, California. Was part of my jobs. As a little kid, I was doing yard work for the next door neighbor, Betty Boland, who is still, believe it or not, with us at 93 years old. She paid me 25 cents to mow her lawn.
Wow. So you've been working.
I've been working for a while.
You're a working man.
Well, my mom is a poor Oklahoma stock, right? And my father came from India. We didn't have, servants and handmaids or anything like that to take care of our stuff, and if you wanted to buy something, you needed to work. And after I had gone to Nepal, I was out of college money, and the way the financial system was set up is they said my parents had to take a second mortgage on the farm, and I said, absolutely not. That's ridiculous. And so I went and saw a recruiter to see about the GI Bill. And for a bunch of other consequences, my fiance and I decided it was time to get married, and we'd both join the Army to get our GI Bill.
How old were you?
I was 22. She was 23.
Wow.
And we were honeymooning at beautiful Fort Dix, New Jersey.
No way.
Then a year at the Presidio of Monterey to learn Russian. After that, Tom Green County, Texas, in San Angelo, where they did our signal intelligence training. And from there, I had orders. We knew our final destination when we left language school, and mine were for Wiesbaden, Germany. Great, get to go to Germany. Our platoon sergeant didn't like the idea of females in the service, and my wife was pregnant with our son. And he said, we don't send pregnant soldiers overseas. Rescinded my orders from Wiesbaden, Germany, and sent us to Fort Polk, Louisiana, as punishment. Now, remember, this is my first. We're new to the Army. We don't know the
this
rules.
Is when? This is 80s?
This is 1988.
Yeah.
Sorry, 89 by this time. And now, it wouldn't have taken much longer for me to be in the Army before I would have said, like, oh, yeah, Sergeant? Show me in the regulation where it says that.
You learned that.
I learned that after
Over
I'm
time.
stuck at Fort Polk, Louisiana for 2.5 years. Now, I that's a little mean. Look, I kind of liked Louisiana. I wasn't so wild about Fort Polk.
Yeah.
It's not it's not the crown jewel of the United States Armed Forces.
It's a little hot and humid there too. I've been
a wee bit.
Yeah.
So we did our 2.5, 3 years there, got out. That's how I ended up in the Pile Drivers Union. I decided I'd run for office. That's when I had the ambition. Oh, I want to run for office. I'm going to be a special little snowflake, and I'm going to run for office. Well, I got my ass handed to me. And that's where I learned, I'm not ready for this. And
what was that office?
I ran for state assembly, but the idea was
is this in Louisiana?
California.
Oh, in California.
Back home in California.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I ran for the state assembly, did well in my county, which was half of the district, and I thought I would take that and parlay that into a brilliant win for county supervisor. And I really got it handed to me in that race. That's where I learned that, that the lower offices, these local offices, can be far more important to contractors. In Sonoma County, the gravel mining companies,
sure,
rock quarries, they have
a lot of influence.
They have a lot of influence over local businesses to make money.
Right.
And, I had nothing to offer them.
Right.
And therefore, I got a very, very tough lesson. But by the time I came home from going to college, because I was going to college at the same time, started coming home from classes, and wife and 2 kids singing "We Are the World," ready for me to provide some meals.
Yeah.
So I went into the Pile Drivers Union, and I spent 4 years, went all the way through the apprenticeship program there, building piers, wharfs, docks, and bridges, busting concrete overhead. Did a few days of dive tending for a diver that was out there, and we do a lot of stuff that's really heavy, big boy work out there.
Oh yeah.
And
I've shaken your hands. So that's a real handshake, dude.
Well,
I'm just saying. Yeah, I can see that you're.
I'm actually about a mid-sized pile driver. You should see the big guys.
Oh my God, I bet.
Yeah.
Well, they should be playing in the NFL.
These are guys that sort of straighten out horseshoes for fun. They're a rough bunch, and they work really hard.
Wow, that's cool. So what'd you learn there?
I ended up. I got welding certification. So I got 5G welding certs, blueprints, concrete forms, concrete itself, doweling piles, working with the steel workers where the trades were. Basically, our union does everything that is under, on, or in the water.
Oh, gotcha.
Or
around
over the water.
Got it.
Hence the bridge building.
Right.
So up to the soffit, even if it's on land, is our work exclusively, and then after that we can stay on the job for anything that the carpenters do.
What'd you learn from the people?
The true stamina and value of hard work. These are men and women who earn their checks. They had tremendous sense of humor. And, you know, I think a lot of people might be surprised. I had a carpool, 4 of us carpooled. One guy was just a high school grad. And of course I had just finished community college and had not managed to move on from there as yet because I had the kids and everything to raise. But the other 2 guys in the carpool both had bachelor's degrees, one in chemistry. And what was the other? I can't remember the other guy's degree. But I mean, these are college grads, and this is the work they chose. They could do other things, but you made a good living at it.
Yeah.
You worked hard. It had its rewards, and you got to meet truly salt of the earth, and not in a sarcastic way. These are truly the men and women that build this country.
Yeah. I'm very curious about your perspective. I just thought of this. You know, we'll talk about politics a lot, but one of the big reasons that Trump and the Republicans won, I think, the way they have in the last 10 years, is that they took the union guys, the union votes. Those union folks were always hardcore Democrats, and they chose not to the last 10 years. What have you learned about them? What does that tell you about what you're doing now? And tell me why you think that happened. Why do you think that happened?
I'll fight your premise a little.
I mean, well, okay. Am I wrong?
Jimmy Hoffa was with Richard Nixon and the Republicans.
Okay.
And the Teamsters have endorsed Ronald Reagan.
Yeah. Sure.
So
It's happened.
It has happened.
But I'm talking.
Generally, your labor leadership is more to the left of your rank and file members.
Always.
That's a general rule. But that's because your rank and file, they're out there they're out there busting ass to make a living.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
The guys that are in the rank and file, it's not because they're natural liberals.
Right.
They're sitting there looking at legislation on what's going to support their members.
Right.
Now, to their credit, they go back to their membership and tell them, this is why we're doing this. Right? The Republicans are against your job safety measures. The Republicans are against your pay raises. The Republicans don't even want you to be able to negotiate a contract. They think that this is, some form of communism with a trade union. There's nothing more capitalistic than being in a trade union. In a nutshell, it's profit maximization. We cheer for the executive. We cheer for the stockholders that are going after the biggest bucks that they can get and negotiate by hook or crook. Union members are simply going there with their labor and saying, we deserve our fair share of the profits of this industry. And I don't think that's unreasonable, but that's capitalism.
It sure is.
By definition, that is capitalism.
Well said. I read back and some of the things that you said, that you've actually been sort of an activist since you were 10.
How did you find that?
I just do my homework sometimes.
Oh man, I didn't know anybody.
Tell me about this young, ambitious civic dude.
Okay, so my brother had a tutor named Mrs. Elmore, and Mrs. Elmore was an old-fashioned Eisenhower Republican.
Yep.
And she hired my brother and me, even though you're not allowed to hire us. So this is my violation of campaign law.
Oh.
Right? She hired us to pull weeds, and she literally would take us to her yard to pull a weed each and pay us. But what we were really doing is she paid us to go to all the houses and put hangers on the doors and
really?
Flyers.
You were actually you were volunteering or whatever.
I was
voluntolding.
Yes, I was basically child labor, putting stuff on the walls
for the Republican candidates.
For Republican candidates, John Muskemon, and
you were how old were you?
10.
10 years old.
But my brother really wasn't interested in any of this crap. But I was.
You're like, why am I doing this? Who is this guy?
No, I was just like totally loving this stuff. I was fascinated by politics. You got to remember, I mean, some of my early memories are Watergate.
Oh yeah.
So they would remember they
For sure
took
I do.
Scooby-Doo off Saturday morning.
For
and these
sure I
idiots
did.
are sitting at
Yes.
desks asking questions. I'm
Right.
like, what the hell's
I
going
remember
on?
that. Yeah.
Right.
And
then,
Vietnam
of course,
War.
Richard
You and I grew up
Nixon,
through that in the Vietnam War. And
right?
the whole,
Richard,
and Richard
Nixon and all of this stuff.
I mean, I
so
always
I knew something was going
I
on.
always tell the story that I thought was amazing is I heard Richard Nixon speak at the opening of Expo 74 here. We were there for the opening ceremony. So I could see him in my mind's eye across the water, right in front of the Opera House. And he opened Expo 74, and it was, my whole family was there. And it was very cool. And then the closing ceremony was Gerald Ford. Welcome to 1974.
I didn't know that, but that's brilliant.
Isn't that great? Great Spokane lore.
Well, but Mrs. Elmore, who, by the way, was a wave in World War II.
No way. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, the last time I saw her, I went and visited her at Palo Alto at the Veterans Home.
Oh, that's cool.
When my
Not long ago.
So then
probably.
Ellen and I, my wife and I at the time, so we were spending a lot of weekends up in Petaluma from Monterey, and so when we were driving down, we stopped and saw her.
Oh, that's
And
nice.
that was the last time I saw her. But she took me to Petaluma City Council meeting, and I thought it was
You just
amazing.
Why did she take you? Did she see something in
Because
you?
I was interested in
You
politics.
kept asking questions.
I guess. I mean, but
She thought she had a young Republican on her hands.
certainly. Certainly, that's what she thought. But she took me to the city council meeting, and she says, this is public comment. Is there anything you'd like to say to the city council about what's going on? And, I'm like, well, yeah, I do. So I went up to the microphone and said, look, there's cars that are driving in front of Grant Elementary School in Petaluma, California, and they're going by really fast. I'd almost been sort of swiped by a car.
Whoa.
And I was like, this is an issue. And of course, the city council was really nice and had a little write-up in the Argus Courier, and they referred it to the traffic committee, and I actually did get the speed limit lowered on all of Grant Avenue to 25 miles an hour.
No way. Well,
So-
congratulations. You've done
thank you.
something. That was the start of this.
Probably, unfortunately.
Well, I wouldn't say unfortunately. So you have also served overseas quite a bit. How did that happen? I know you were in the military for
Well, I would have
26
loved to have
years,
started.
right?
I would have loved to have started in Wiesbaden,
yeah.
but like after Fort Polk, when I got out, I stayed in the California Army National Guard, in the 223rd Military Intelligence.
Is that why you were doing pile driving?
While doing pile driving.
This was, I'm sorry, what part of the Army Guard were you?
So I was in the California Army National Guard, 223rd Military Intelligence Battalion, that just happened to have opened a company in Petaluma where I lived.
Interesting. How did you get in the intelligence game?
I wanted to go to the language school. That was literally the only thing that I knew.
What made you interested in that?
My uncle had apparently gone to the Monterey Institute of International Studies for some language training. I think when he went down to Santiago. My uncle was a big professor of anthropology, and he was teaching at UC Riverside, and they were seeing him down there, and they said, there's this language school down there and all that. And I'd always been like, oh, wow, because I always thought it was really cool that people spoke foreign languages.
Right. It is.
I was shocked when I was in second grade and we went to India. It was the first time. I didn't know my dad spoke a foreign language.
Really?
And all of a sudden he opens his mouth. I must have been 5 or 6 years old before I noticed that my mom and dad weren't the same color. I wasn't the most observant kid.
That says a lot, actually.
It's just like mom and dad, right?
Yeah.
I didn't think anything of it. But dad's all of a sudden on a railroad platform, rattling on in Hindi, or actually Hindustani, to the porters and all like this. And I'm like...
And where is this?
This was when we went to India.
You took a trip?
In 1973.
Wow.
We went for the first time. My dad hadn't been home in 16 years.
So what brought him to the United States? What was his background and interest?
So both my mom and dad have very diverse family stories. My grandmother was actually born in Durban, South Africa.
Wow.
And the family attorney there was a guy named Mohandas K. Gandhi.
No way.
And he was her godfather.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait. This is who?
This is my grandmother.
So you're related to Gandhi?
Well, godfather related. He's
godfather.
Not family.
I'm sorry.
So Gandhiji was the family attorney.
Right.
So
he was. Yes, he was an attorney.
Parsi Rustomji was known as Kakaji, uncle, everyone's uncle, but distantly related to my grandmother. Her father had a shop and worked with Rustomji, and
Amazing.
There were laws against. If you read Gandhi's autobiography, he's in there, Parsi Rustomji.
Wow.
And one of the things, he's in there quite a lot, actually. When Ira Glass wrote the opera Satyagrahi, he's the main character, is Parsi Rustomji.
Wow.
But Parsi Rustomji was, and my great-great-grandfather, it was hard to do business in those days, and quite a few times they had to resort to smuggling to get product for their stores. And so they needed an attorney.
Wow, this would have been like late 1800s,
This
early
is
1900s?
Early 1900s. My understanding is that the first member of our family went in like 1890s or thereabouts, right at the turn of the century.
Wow.
I've heard a bunch of stories for it, of which I believe some.
Some of them might even be true.
They were there, though. That is true. And so they were the attorney, and my grandmother had told me, I mean, this was directly to me.
From her.
That, she would remember when Gandhi would come over and she would sit on his lap and play and all that.
Wow.
But when she was orphaned, he was her godfather. So she actually went and stayed with him.
He
For
was
how
like
long,
her.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But she and her sister were
she
the
was
young
her.
ones.
He was her. She was his charge.
Yes. And so eventually he sent them back to India, where
that would happen a lot. If someone passed away, then the attorney would actually make sure that they were taken care of. And,
but again, we're talking a pretty small community of Indians.
Anyway,
in South Africa there.
Oh, this was in South Africa.
Yes.
Right.
I'm sorry. I didn't say Durban, South Africa.
This is South
Durban
Africa.
is South Africa.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Gandhi was in South Africa.
Right.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's where he did his the original civil rights movement.
Okay.
Then when he returned to India, it became the Quit India movement. But
he learned the ropes in South Africa.
Yeah,
Kinda,
he became a leader in South Africa. But when my grandmother went back, the family kind of spent all of the money and then married her off poor to my grandfather. My grandfather worked for British Railways, so they were all over the place. And this one I know is true. Several times when Gandhi would travel, my grandfather worked at New Delhi railway station for quite a bit of time. And, Old Delhi station. And when Gandhi would come through, because he famously always would travel second class and stuff like that, he'd go and have dinner, or I guess lunch, whatever it was, with the family.
Wow.
And so those connections were
So
there.
did your dad ever meet him?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, but again, Dad sort of took it as matter of fact.
Yeah, it's just
this
guy we know,
here.
family friend.
Right.
Whatever.
And every time he's around,
It's
a pain in the ass at the railway station.
Yeah,
right. There's a big crowd, and
yeah, your dad was pretty little, I'm sure, at this point.
Well, Dad was born 1935.
Okay.
So this would have been late 1930s, going into the war. And I know that Gandhi got arrested and was spent a lot of that time in jail. So my dad had to have been pretty small.
Pretty small, yeah.
But he remembers it.
Yeah.
And then his older siblings have told the same story, though.
Wow.
So that's pretty consistent.
Wow.
So
what brought your dad here?
So my dad's one of 11. He's also the only one that never got a college degree. And when my dad was coming up, they switched to Hindi as the national language. All of their first language was English.
Right.
Right?
Right.
They
were
told, learn English.
Colonists,
right?
yeah, right.
So, Parsis all speak English. That's a given, right? We're a small minority group called Parsis. So Dad couldn't do the exams in Hindi.
Of course not.
And he kept failing them. So the third time he failed it, he's like, I'm not going back there. And so my grandfathers said, okay, well, I'm going to get you a job on the railroad. You can start shoveling coal. And my dad's like, I sure as hell ain't doing that.
Right. I might learn this Hindi thing.
Yeah. So his sister had just gotten married and gone to Kuwait, where her husband was a banker.
Huh.
Bank teller, more accurately, not a banker.
Yeah.
But, she said, send him here. There's plenty of work. And so my grandfather actually made a recording of this, but he says, I decided to save money, and instead of getting you a second-class cabin, I got you deck passage. A journey of 6 days across the Arabian Sea.
Oof.
And Dad got sick and nearly died on the trip.
Wow.
But he spent 4 years in Kuwait, got lucky, met an American family. They liked him. They sponsored him to come to the U.S.
Huh.
Where do oil people live?
Texas.
Bakersfield.
Oh, or Bakersfield,
California.
Right.
That's where my dad went.
Okay.
My mama's family, meanwhile, is from Oklahoma.
Right.
Where do all people from Oklahoma end up?
California.
Bakersfield.
Yeah, Bakersfield.
If you've ever read Steinbeck,
No, it's true.
right? They
Yeah,
all
that's
go to
right.
Bakersfield.
That's right, they do.
Well,
Dust Bowl.
Mama's family were probably poorer than my father's family. My mother's family left Oklahoma in a Kaiser car. I didn't even know Kaiser made cars.
Wow, no.
But my grandfather brought this car, and one of the aunts or someone said, you're never going to make it out there. And he says, this is what I got. And she said, come with me. They went to the dump, and they salvaged 4 tires from the dump, put it on the car, and that's how they drove to California.
Wow.
And they went to Bakersfield.
Yeah.
And at Bakersfield Community College, my mom and dad met.
Crazy.
Got married. My dad decided he'd had enough of education anyway, went out, got a job with Chevron as a draftsman.
Oh.
He had learned to be a draftsman in Kuwait.
Well, my dad's an architect.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
So we got some commonality in the designer dudes, the drafts guys. Yeah.
So mom and dad started out in Bakersfield. Chevron, then it was Standard Oil, transferred him to Avenal, California. That's where I was born. I was severely asthmatic, and the doctor said buy a grave plot or move.
Really?
So he took a job up at Chevron Research up in Richmond, bought a house in Petaluma, California, and that's where I lived from the time I was 2 years old till off and on till I was 45 and 50.
So the did that ever cause you trouble physically, or did you grow out of it?
I grew out of it. I was severely asthmatic as a child, but I haven't had an asthma attack since I was 11
think Teddy
years old.
Roosevelt was too.
If you are born,
there's a lot.
this is the theory.
There's a lot of people that have had that end up doing kind of amazing things, as far as I remember.
Well, if you are born with it, you can outgrow it.
Gotcha.
That's what happened to me.
Okay.
My brother, unfortunately, got it when he was 7 or 8 years old, and he still has it to this day.
Wow. Still deals with it.
So I'm not an expert on asthma.
But you just know you don't
ladies
have
and
it
gentlemen,
anymore.
do not take medical advice from someone running for Congress that doesn't have MD after his name. Thank you very much.
For sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's so, so if you're kind of wondering on why this guy does a little bit of everything, my mom and dad wanted to farm all their lives. So,
they farmed.
So they
What
had
did
a
they
little
farm?
ranch. We had a little ranch, and we raised chickens, ducks, geese, guinea fowl, Barbados.
So you're a farmer too. You're a rancher
Sheep
too.
ranch. Yeah, I have raised, killed, dressed, cut and wrapped our own animals.
Yeah.
Everything from chickens to rabbits to turkeys and ducks and geese. My mother's side business, along with the meat animals, was she would rent animals to the movies. So there's a Grateful Dead video that's got our ducks in it.
Oh.
If you've seen the movie Willow,
Okay,
where
yeah,
the witch is changing into everything?
Yeah.
That goat, that's ours.
You trained animals.
We didn't train them.
Oh,
We just raised them.
raised them.
The animal trainer, the woman's business was called Animal Stars.
Oh,
And she'd come out and
wow.
rent it.
Yeah,
we'd
we've
send this
hired
goat
trainers
out
before
for
stuff,
more
yeah.
money. We'd get more money for renting the goat than we could get selling it. And it comes back all shampooed.
Well, what a deal that is. Welcome to California. Welcome to Hollywood, buddy.
Yeah, we did there was quite a few different, I mean, there was an Audi commercial.
Wow.
There's some other
That's
things.
super cool. So these two worlds.
This is actually quite tasty.
It's getting better, huh?
It is. It has a very nice flavor.
I think the aftertaste of this is really great. It's sort of a honey thing. Yeah.
You get that sweet from the Chardonnay.
It's really good.
It's nice.
Yeah, I think so. These two worlds of Oklahoma and India, what did you learn from them? How are they?
Well, there's so many things in common.
Anything?
One
There?
You know, yeah, we're very welcoming to guests. You know, Indians serve their tea hot and sweet, and Oklahomans serve it cold and sweet. You know, there was never like a cultural problem between mom and dad.
Right.
And you know, my dad's family is all Zoroastrians.
So explain that, because this what you told me about this. I've never heard this term before in my life. Zoroastrian. Am I saying that correctly?
So Zoroastrian. Yeah.
They are the wise men, correct?
You are absolutely correct. They are the wise men
that
from
were
the Bible.
there that came from the east and were there with little baby Jesus.
So you want the nutshell history of it?
Please.
Okay, so the nutshell history of Zoroastrians is we were the official religion of ancient Persia. So Cyrus the Great, Darius, all of that, Persepolis.
Where Iran is today.
So then this guy named Alexander starts taking over all across the world, right?
Yeah.
And he comes from Macedonia takes over Iran. Now, when you take over a country, you take all the good jobs.
Yeah, right.
Well, that meant there was a whole upper crust, educated class that was out of a job. And what they did is they started forming like these roving universities, and they'd go on caravans traveling all around the Middle East. Now, I've spent a few years in the Middle East. Have you ever been?
I've never been to the Middle East.
Okay. It is
You spent quite a few years.
I did spend quite a few years. I can tell you, I remember very clearly the very first time I stepped off a plane in the Middle East. When I was flying to India.
Hot.
The door opened. It's like, and if you really want to know what it's like opening an oven door. That's what it feels like to walk out of an air-conditioned airplane into the night sky of Kuwait.
So it was nighttime and it was hotter than hell.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, we're talking days of 120, 125 degrees.
Wow.
So these guys are traveling, but what are the sciences of the day? The sciences of the day are mathematics, medicine, astrology, and astronomy.
Astronomy, the stars.
Now, if it's 125 degrees during the day,
the only time you travel is at night. Yeah, for sure.
And how do they navigate?
By the stars. Astronomy.
Wise men from the east following a star.
Right. Wow.
In Latin, the singular of a Zoroastrian priest is magus. The plural of magus is magi.
Oh.
That's the wise men.
The magi.
And just also so folks know, there are only 4 people in the entire Bible anointed by God. And that is David, Solomon, Jesus, and a Zoroastrian, Cyrus the Great.
Wow, amazing. So what gets you to both Iraq and Afghanistan? So you entered as an enlisted man.
Yes.
But you ended as a commissioned officer.
Right.
It
took me a while to get there.
Tell me that.
So,
because that's rare. Is that rare?
It seems
a bit rare.
It is. So direct commissions are rare. Most commissions are ROTC or what we call ring knockers. You graduate from the academies.
Go to the academy, yeah, sure.
Right.
And this is U.S. Army, so
a direct commission. Okay. Now, a lot of times direct commissions are battlefield commissions, right? Everyone else has been shot. You're the lieutenant. Go.
Right. You're just instantly added because you're the next man up.
Right. But you can apply for a direct commission. They were very short on lieutenants, and my commander wanted me to get one, and I did technically qualify. But you have to do it before you're 40. My commission came 3 days before I turned 40.
Wow.
Now, I'm a little slow. It took me 16 years to get a 4-year degree. It took me 17 years to make second lieutenant. Most of those second lieutenants make it in 4 years.
Well, you were also
But
busy.
not me.
You were busy and living a life too.
Well, I was already a sergeant first class.
Okay.
Right. So I'd already had a 7-year career recruiting.
But you had
I'd
two.
already deployed to Afghanistan.
Okay, so
with
you were a
19th
recruiter
Special
before
Forces
that.
Group.
Gotcha.
Right. So when I left the Pile Drivers Union, I left it because I had an opportunity to go full-time in the National Guard. Mm-hmm. If I went back active duty, I had 16 more years to go in the Union. 16 more years to go in the military for a retirement. Or 26 more years to go in the Pile Drivers Union. Now,
do the math.
Like I said, it took me 16 years to get a degree, but 16 years is less than 26.
100%, yeah.
It seemed
that's the right route.
Like the right move.
Yeah,
right?
very much.
So I was recruiter, and then these guys flew planes into the World Trade Center.
Yeah.
And I got a phone call, because I was a very experienced recruiter by this time, from 19th Special Forces Group. And they said, we got a guy, he's been out for 11 years. We need to get him back in to go to Afghanistan. Can you take care of it for us? And I said, sure. Right.
So wait, explain that again.
So a lot of the National Guard are prior service.
Right.
It's a little bit harder to enlist guys that have been out for a long period of time.
Gotcha.
And you have to be able to get them their physical, get their paperwork together. There's 72 pages.
More hoops.
Yeah, but there's 72 pages of enlistment contract that we have to get filled out for them. So I knocked it out, and 3 days later I had him in boots. And
this is the guy they needed.
This is the guy they needed. He was qualified to go, right? They're on the bubble. They're going.
Yeah.
And they're going to either go with him or without him.
Is he Special Forces?
He was a fully qualified Green Beret.
Wow.
Now,
you're the guy that got to get him qualified.
Well, remember, all I have to do is verify all of this stuff. So I have to get all of his paperwork together to go into that unit to show he's fully qualified.
Gotcha.
There will be further stuff to show that he is deployable. They're the ones that have to vouch for him.
Okay.
That
was your mission right then.
So my mission's just to get him in. As I promised, I had a commander one time complaining at me about the people I was bringing in. And I said, sir, my job is to bring you qualified, not quality. Your job is to make them quality.
Right.
That's your problem. But that said, I got him in, and he did very well on his deployment, by the way, I will say. And Michael Clare was the readiness NCO, and he says, anything else you need? I says, yeah, can I go? And he says, well, we don't need recruiters. And I said, well, what about 98 Golf Russians? And he said, wait a minute. You're 98 Golf? I said, yeah. He says, I'll call you back in 10 minutes. 10 minutes later, he calls back. A little bit different attitude. All right. First, are you serious? And I said, I'm absolutely serious. Right? This is after 9/11.
Yep.
I've been in 16 years at this point.
Yeah.
And he says, all right.
No wonder he asked if you're serious.
Right. Well, yeah, I've got a desk job. I've got
it's pretty cush.
Pretty cush. Right. And he says, okay, is your security clearance up to date? And I says, well, I happen to recruit for the 223rd Military Intelligence Battalion, and I just renewed my top secret clearance. I am fully cleared, ready to go. He says, all right. And you're a qualified 98 Golf. I says, I've only got 2 MOSs.
So I don't know what any of that means.
Okay. I've only got 2 jobs. MOS is your military occupational specialty.
Okay.
Right. And I said, I only have 2. One is a recruiter and one is a 98 Golf. A 98 Golf is an electronic warfare voice intercept operator. My caveat is Russian, as a Russian linguist.
Interesting.
So we're trained specifically for that. Our job's to sit with headphones on and listen to the communications of the other guys.
Okay, and as we were testing the mics today, just to see what the sound was, do the sound check. You did your sound check. Do your sound check.
Oh. So I did, when I was at Fort Polk, we would listen via satellite link to the Russians, the Soviet army
part of your job.
in East Germany.
Wow.
But most of the time they are far, far under the table intoxicated. They would have been through much more of this bottle than you and us. We're mere amateurs.
The Russians.
Compared to Soviet soldiers.
I bet. Wow.
So the radio check, which you'll almost always hear when you're listening in on Soviet and I assume Russian transmissions now, is Raz, dva, tri, четыре, пять, шесть, семь, восемь, девять, десять. They just count to 10 over and over again to tune in their World
Signals
War II vintage
gear. And to drive you guys crazy, probably.
Well, I mean, look, I mean, we're tracking a bunch of things. You've got to remember that we very rarely, you're not going to turn into their radio thing and hear them say, oh, we have the atomic bomb. We are moving down,
Right,
no, they're not giving away the store like that.
No.
You put a lot together though, simply by the frequencies that they're on, by
You're not
the
giving
commanders.
away military intelligence.
No. This is
No.
Most of what we do is deductive reasoning.
Sure.
Right? And a little bit of Occam's razor. The most obvious answer is usually the correct one. And the Soviets, the Russians, are creatures of habit. That's why the Ukrainians are tearing these Russians apart.
Really?
Because the Russians are still playing the game by the old Soviet playbook. They're still dusting off old Stalin's crap.
And Ukraine,
because I was on the first mission to Ukraine in 1992.
Really?
That evolved into Peace Shield joint training exercises and a 30-year program between the California National Guard and Ukraine. And it's called the State Partnership Program. All National Guards have one or two state partners. And we sent troops and experts to train with them jointly and also to train them specifically. The Ukrainian military was decades ahead.
Really?
And they're young. Now, remember, they're geezers. They're old guys. They're colonels and generals. They're still stuck in Soviet mindset. No, we are going to beat the Russian on battlefield, mano a mano. And I'm like, that's stupid. But that's another story. And they learned quickly, though, which is why they've done such an amazing job, is they are not
Everybody
stuck
thought
in
this was going to
Soviet
be over
mindset.
in a week.
Oh, yeah.
And how many years now? I mean,
It's
Zelensky.
4 years.
Zelensky.
But you also have to remember that the Soviets, so you know that Napoleon and Hitler learned the same lesson, right?
No.
It is a very, very long way to Moscow. Russia's a big country.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
Putin didn't know that lesson works in reverse.
Got it.
And he brought troops out from Siberia. He brought equipment out from Siberia, stuff that hasn't been touched in decades. Well, these commanders have been so corrupt, and a lot of them broke, right? So what do? They get fuel, they sell it on the black market, and they pocket the money. They enlist soldiers that are actually ghosts, and they pocket those ghosts' paychecks.
They don't
actually exist, right?
Wow.
They don't change the tires on their equipment when they say so. So these tires are 30 and 40 years old. They start rolling on them. They fall apart on the vehicle. That's why there was a 40-mile long convoy just stranded on Ukraine. They got off the trains. They rolled into Ukraine and broke down.
So the corruption of Russia.
The corruption, the incompetence, the old Soviet doctrine made them sitting ducks for the Ukrainians. Wow. And there's another little just tidbit. Every single Ukrainian speaks Russian, but Russians don't speak Ukrainian.
Right. So they have a communication advantage.
And they know how they think, they know how they operate, and they have been
smart.
A much smaller,
nimble,
leaner, and yes, exactly, nimble and lethal force.
Wow. Impressive. Wow.
So that's another story.
So you go to Iran first or Afghanistan first?
I went to Afghanistan, 2002, 2003.
So you volunteer.
Yeah, with 19.
Why'd you volunteer? What was it that made you do that?
Because I believed in what we were doing. First of all, I'd been aware of Al Qaeda for years, and this was not a shock to me, and I knew exactly who did it the moment we saw the second plane hit. Anybody that had been paying any attention already knew that.
Yeah.
Right? This is what makes such a travesty out of the George W. Bush administration and Rumsfeld and Wolfowitz and all these other guys sending us off into this fiasco in Iraq. But Iran, the Al-Qaeda, thanks to Clinton's bombings, frankly, had been thrown out of Sudan. So Al-Qaeda was concentrated in Afghanistan, where the Taliban welcomed them and concentrated their power there. So absolutely wanted to go get these guys.
Wow, you've seen some stuff. It's cool.
Look, I've been extraordinarily lucky.
You've made a lot of your own luck. Saying, volunteering, like you didn't just volunteer, you like had to think of a way to get there. That's a little different than I'll go. They didn't ask you. You actually found a way to get them to take you.
Actually, I kind of had to do that for all of them, but it was because of my career.
Right.
But
that's extraordinary. I don't know, muscle, like wanting to just go. I mean, you really believe
when you're in the service for a long period of time, then you do want to exercise your tradecraft.
Yeah, sure. You want to, yeah, right.
But also, I was one of the few people that actually understood. And my grandfather had wanted to join the British Army and fight in Afghanistan in the first Afghan wars.
No way.
It was actually the second Afghan wars. He wasn't old enough for the first. But his parents wouldn't sign release papers.
Interesting. Was there some of that you're like, I'm going to go?
No, I think that's more coincidental. I don't know if that's...
You weren't there to finish his business.
No.
Totally different situation.
But I mean, it's Are we back on?
No, we're not quite back on. We should probably wait. You still coming, Cameron?
Yeah.
But his camera's going, right?
That camera's going.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
They don't need my shot.
Where the hell were we? Yeah, you're the star. You're the one who brings
No, I'm not. You're
good looks, wit, and humor.
You're the star. I just bring whiskey.
So, that's not a bad start. So, no, I went to Afghanistan knowing these things, but not having any idea. I'd never deployed. I'd been in for 16 years, but I had never.
Were you scared
been on a deployment? Well, yeah, but I mean, I didn't know of what. I found out. So my team we were sent to Lawara, which is right on the Pakistan border. And actually the biggest battle I was ever in was 3 or 4 days into our time in Afghanistan on that first.
Right away.
Wow.
And
it was a huge, for me, it was huge. I don't know. Other guys have seen a lot more action, but big old rocket attack. And we countered with mortars and machine gun fire and dropping JDAMs. And they had Spectre on site. Spectre is a giant C-130 that if you are just looking at the naked eye, it doesn't look like anything. You can hear this plane buzzing around. But if you put your night vision goggles on, there's a giant infrared spotlight from the C-130 looking all around.
Shit.
That's like daylight that you can see out there. And, of course, our lasers can see each other, and we can see our own glint tape and stuff like that for our own location.
So what is that like to get fire for the first time? Especially, I mean, you were not a young guy.
No.
How old are you at this point?
37.
So you're 37. You've lived
38.
a pretty big life up to that point. And all of a sudden what is that experience? How do you describe it? What's it like that first time you're under fire like that?
I didn't freeze. I didn't screw up. I don't think. I think that my team did
training
an amazing job. Seriously, it's all the team, and Joe and Steve and Kent and
they're your guys for life.
They're oh yeah. These are guys I will do anything for, absolutely anything for. They were the reason this was a success, not me. But we were up on this ridge, and so It's called an LPOP, listening post, observation post. And that's what a SOD is. So we're not Green Berets. I am not a Green Beret. Okay. I'm very adamant about not posing to or trying to imply I'm something I'm not.
For sure.
When you are especially running for office and you start embellishing what you've done.
Which happens.
It's happened once or twice with some people.
Yep.
All right. I am no war hero. I've known some, but I am not. I was there doing my duty. I'm happy to say I didn't screw up really badly. I did screw up. I mean, if you're not, you're probably not doing anything.
Right.
But what we were able to do there was up on this ridge. We were at a third point, so we were not on our FOB, our forward operating base. And we had a clear vision of where the rockets were coming from and of the base and of the entire valley and stuff like that. So we can both see and we're listening to the radio. And in this case, these were cell phone calls and push-to-talk radios. So we're up there able to capture all of it, and we literally pointed. Remember those laser pointers that no one else can see, but infrared night vision can. And we pointed to them and said, no, these guys are like, there's nothing up here. There's a house up there. That's where the rockets came from. Drive up. But they couldn't see it from where they were at. And they went up there and got the guy. Of course, this SOB comes out of the house. What? And it's like, we've just been dropping bombs all over the place, mortar, machine gun fire, and you're going to tell us you were sleeping through all of this.
Give me a break.
So, took that guy. He had a very unpleasant couple of days.
I bet.
And then the intelligence that we gathered when he was in the detention facility, somebody lost the transcripts. Fortunately, we still had the recordings and everything. So when we got back to Kabul, the detention center almost let these guys go. We're like,
Don't let these
brought
guys
the stuff
go.
to them. So they probably ended up at Gitmo enjoying fried bananas down in Cuba.
How long were you in Afghanistan?
Our deployment was 9 months, I think.
Wow.
In country. And then we were there for a long time afterwards because while we were there, someone got the bright idea to invade Iraq.
Yeah.
I was opposed to that from the get-go. Number one, Iraq had nothing to do with it. Number two, it would take our focus off of catching and killing Osama bin Laden.
Right.
And when you do that to the United States, we get you. Doesn't matter the time, doesn't matter the treasure. You attack the United States, we will come after you anywhere in the world, and we will kill you. If we can capture you, that's great, but probably we'll just kill you.
Yeah.
It took a while. But it wasn't a priority of the Bush administration, which I was infuriated by. And going into Iraq was a fiasco. All we did there.
Did you guys all know it?
No, actually, I will tell you I won't tell you who said it, but one of my guys said, well, don't you think they know something that we don't? No, I don't.
And you were right.
It's not one of I would have much rather been wrong.
Yeah,
I would much rather.
Of course.
But these guys had a different agenda. This is the danger of the Iran war now. The agenda is not for our national security. The agenda, the reason we're going in there, has changed 10 or 20 times. The first thing they said, we're going to do regime change. Clearly, these guys don't understand the problem set. But I promise you, there's people in our intelligence community that do. They were told. This administration was told. The Bush administration was told. They didn't like the answer, and they thought they knew better. And all we did in Iraq, really, at the end of the day, was kill 250,000 civilians, destabilize the entire region, get 4,000 of our own guys killed, not to mention the contractors and third country nationals, spend trillions of dollars just to pack up our toys and go home.
And not even get, as Donald Trump said, not even get the oil.
Yeah, well, again, who wants that oil? The oil in Iraq is a sour crude. It's filthy stuff.
It's not great.
There's plenty of filthy oil in Venezuela. Venezuela's sour crude full of sand and stuff like that. It can't even be processed there. It has to come to our refineries here to be processed. So
At a huge expense.
again, big expense. The oil's cheap because it's lousy stuff. Processing it costs more. Now, why are we going to Venezuela? Venezuelan oil's lousy stuff. Well, they just discovered 18 billion barrels of light sweet crude off the coast of Guyana. Hell, they even speak English down there. Why are we messing around with Venezuelan oil, which we have to build the infrastructure for, because that infrastructure is 20 years obsolete.
Why are we there?
And it was already that old. Well, again, these are whims. These are not military objectives.
Right. This is a knee-jerk.
Right. So this is where people are a little confused by my things, because Afghanistan was a success.
Why do you say that?
Because we accomplished our missions. But Americans don't like what success in Afghanistan looks like.
Right.
Let me give you the metric that shows that it was a success. I was there. There wasn't a functioning toilet in that country in 2002, 2003. 98% of the population could not see a doctor within 24 hours. There wasn't a ring road. There wasn't telephone service across the country. The place was in shambles and still a disaster from the Soviet invasion. I went 10 years later. The skyline's full of cranes, constant construction, trade coming from Iran, from Pakistan.
Emerging.
An emerging economy. The ring road was completed, full cell phone service. There was massive infrastructure building going on top of the housing and business building and stuff. And, I can tell you the biggest one. Every day when I was driving, because I was the driver for our MRAP, to Herat from Camp Stone, there were thousands of schoolgirls walking to school in their little blue salwar kamises and their white scarves carrying their books.
Girls going to school.
You can't fake that.
Right. That was not going on before.
That was not. And the only thing that you can never take away from another human being is what they know. The Taliban will ultimately fail because during that 20 years, we educated
A
these
generation.
girls, a full generation.
Wow.
We have raised the standards. Now, oddly enough, I was just meeting earlier today with the Afghan community
Here in Spokane.
and they said that
Very
the
cool.
Taliban has had to
Change.
change because of the standard that we set. And
That's
all
why
we
you're
had
there.
to do,
And that's success.
that is success.
And nobody talks about that.
Colin Powell, I think, gave me the clearest definition. He said, when we went into the former Yugoslavia, the year before, 200,000 people had been killed.
That's my homeland.
The year, that's right, Swoboda.
Yeah.
After the U.S. and NATO troops went in 1 year, that death toll dropped to 2,000. Colin Powell said, that's success.
It is success.
We were successful in Afghanistan. We failed in Iraq because what did we go there for? Remember yellow cake? It might find itself in the shape of a mushroom cloud.
Right.
This is to lie to your population to get you into a war.
Yeah.
It's unforgivable.
Right.
And, I had two
Weapons of mass destruction.
weapons of mass destruction. Were there weapons of mass destruction in Iraq? Technically, yes, there were. I actually saw some of them buried at Nasiriyah. They had been disabled and destroyed in the first Gulf War.
Which is why
And
we
they
were.
were buried.
Right.
There was no way to deliver any of them. But some of our guys got exposed to some of these agents because they would dig up these things and make IEDs out of them to blow us up. But you know what those guys that did that kind of thing don't know how to do?
Make a nuclear bomb.
No. Well, that too. That too. They don't read Russian. They can't tell what kind of shell it is.
Right.
Right? To them,
Yeah.
shell is a shell, and they packed it with other explosives and put it on the roadside to blow us up.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So these are, again, why do you go to war? You go to war. This is classic von Clausewitz. You fight a war to achieve political ends.
Right.
Now, as if you don't say what you mean, you'll never mean what you say. So if you're going to go to war, what was the first thing that the president said that we were going into Iran for? Regime change.
Right.
That changed quickly. Then we're going to get cheap oil, and then we're going to make them do this, and they're going to bend to our will, and they're going to do this. 3 weeks later, how come our allies aren't here helping us? Because you had spent the previous 3 weeks before that telling our ally, our NATO ally nonetheless, Denmark, that we're going to go in and invade Greenland.
Right. Piss them off.
Yeah, so I mean,
Yeah.
of course not. This is nonsense. And to play politics real quick, our congressman, Michael Baumgartner, was at the same embassy I was at. I worked at the same embassy in Baghdad he worked at. Every conversation there we had started with oil and Iran, and it ended with Iran and oil. Somehow he didn't get the memo. And he comes out and says, what a grand idea this is to invade Iran, that it's going to make the world more secure. Talking about a nuclear stockpile. There's no nuclear stockpile in Iran because the original Iran deal took 20,000 centrifuges and took away 15,000 of them. They're made by Siemens, by the way. And they don't have the capacity to make enough, I think the word's fissionable, but they don't have enough centrifuges to make enough material to stockpile nuclear weapons. And just so folks understand this part a little more complicated, but I got experience at this when I was working at Defense Intelligence Agency. Anytime you're doing any kind of facility that is as sophisticated as a intercontinental ballistic missile factory or making nuclear weapons, yeah, you can stick it underground all you want. But there's an ant trail to every door. We can see that. And it doesn't take no rocket surgeon to figure out that there's activity going on, and based on the activity and the equipment or the size of things going in, we can determine what it is. And there's no stockpile of nuclear weapons. It's nonsense.
So it's just a made up excuse to be there.
Yeah. But this administration has no qualms with lying.
Well,
So you remember that jet that shot down and those two heroes, the colonel and his navigator, and they were there for days, and they sent 300 special operators into Iran to go and rescue them. Where are those two guys?
no idea.
I don't think they exist, because there would be, this administration would be standing there, Pete Hegseth would be standing there pinning medals on these guys, smiling for the cameras,
Well, that's true.
left and right.
That's
Do you
true.
remember when Pat Tillman got killed?
Yeah. Oh,
Do you remember what they said? Oh, he died under enemy fire charging the Taliban. Then they found out it was friendly fire.
Right.
But they wanted a news story. They wanted a feel-good story, so they
Right.
made that up.
Right.
Remember Jessica Lynch
Yeah.
at the beginning of the Iraq War? Oh, this hero thing and all that. And they found out. I mean, she did her duty, but it wasn't what they said it was. They're always looking for heroes. Every administration always does
Wag
that.
the dog.
So wag the dog. But these two guys, they're phantoms. They don't exist.
In Afghanistan, you were there for how long?
I was there for, I want to say 7 months.
So that to me is amazing. Like, you served in Afghanistan at the same time your son did.
Yeah.
I mean, that's sort of like Ken Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey Sr. playing in the major leagues at the same time. It might, maybe not, but do you know anybody who served with their son?
I know several.
Really? That seems amazing to me.
Sergeant Berber Giddings was in Iraq when her son was serving there.
Cool.
My buddy Joe Biancalana, who was on my team at Lawara,
No way.
his son later went to Afghanistan, and I think that there was some overlap when they were on.
But
one
that's
of his later
rare.
tours.
This has got to be rare.
Well, I mean, it's rare in numbers, but you got to also remember something else.
It's super cool, I think.
We're talking about that 1%. Well, it's less than 1% of those of us who actually serve, and it has come concentrated more and more among families, and that's actually not good. That's not a good trend. To have a warrior class,
Right. No kidding.
is actually not a good thing.
Yeah.
Citizen soldier is the ideal. That's what we want to have. And Stanley McChrystal, who got canned by Obama, if you remember, for having a big mouth and complaining about Biden and all that in Rolling Stone, he deserved to get fired. No problem there. But that doesn't mean that we should cast aside everything that man has to say. And he has gone to the Aspen Institute and is doing a program to incentivize national service among young people.
I think that is such a great thing that this country. I had a guest here, Alan Giebel, went to high school with an amazing guy, and he lives in Singapore and has lived there for 30 years. Business guy, done very well. And I said, "What, Alan? What?" He goes, I check on America every day. I mean, I follow the Zags from from Singapore. I mean, I still feel so connected to Spokane. I said, what's the world think of us? And he says, it's not great. And I said, well, what do you think we should do to fix it? He said, I think you should do what they do in Singapore, which is institute mandatory, civil service.
Yeah.
Of some kind. Doesn't have to be military, but some kind of giving back. And we have a huge problem in the homeless world, and we have a huge problem all over the place that from 18 to 22, whatever that is, you should be serving 2 years of mandatory service, whether that's the military, whether that's the, Peace Corps or, volunteer corps of some kind,
Right.
Giving back to the world. I mean, this country was probably at its best and got rebuilt during the Civil Conservation Corps that built half of this town in the 30s.
The WPA, the
WPAs.
CCC.
I mean, and
CCC.
you talk to any of the people and look back at the people that did that work. The best time of their life was that time.
Yeah.
The friends they made for life were there. The biggest impact they had was there. My son's done a couple of service things that he did in junior high and high school. That's the stuff he remembers. It isn't, and his favorite part of those experiences. I absolutely agree with you. And I think we need an army of people that can fix the housing problem, that can fix the homeless problem, that can fix the fentanyl problem, that can fix all this stuff. We need services to go with the housing.
Right.
How do you do it? You do it.
But
You could do it like
first of all,
this.
it's going to cost some money. But what we want to do is
what are we spending every day in Iraq right now?
Well,
dude?
what we want
$1 billion
to
a day.
Right. We want to make
Iran?
young people stakeholders in our society.
Yeah.
And remember, Germany used to have that. You either did 2 years in the military,
Right.
or you did 3 years as a teacher or an ambulance driver or some sort of service. Now, the thing is that the Germans stopped doing that because it literally is cost prohibitive, and it would be cost prohibitive here. So what McChrystal's plan is to incentivize it. And I think that he's got a great idea here. We offer young people a GI Bill type benefit.
Yeah. There you go.
National service.
You're not going to make an American do anything.
Well, but you got to incentivize it, right?
Yes.
So we've got tremendous number of students in tremendous debt.
Oh my God.
Right. Now, never mind that's a racket.
That are also
that's a banker's racket.
Are also looking at. I mean, I got my team here. I mean, there's at least 4 people under 25. 5. Amazing.
How much debt among them?
Incredible. Got to be a lot.
It's got to be at least $100,000 between them.
I would think so. I mean, not my business, but Gonzaga graduates. And I mean, it's not, and their promise of getting a house like that we had when we were their age, not the same. You quoted that in one of the things you said. The average age used to be 27. It's 20.
It's 42 now.
Before you get your
first time home
first time
buyer.
home buyer. That is just wrong.
Yeah, where are they living in the meantime?
It's just right. And this would give them that opportunity, would it not?
You're a small business owner.
Yes.
I'm going to give you a little pushback on something you said. None of your business. It's exactly your business.
Well,
you're the one that has to pay the consequences for their debt.
I'm not going to ask them personally what
there's
rules about that, sir. But I get you.
But what your employees,
me.
and especially your small business, and I mean, I've seen the work you do around here.
You know my team,
right? Yeah,
amazing.
These people are working closely together. You work closely with them.
Yep.
And the stresses that they're going through.
Yeah.
With this sort of Damocles over their heads on this debt that they have to pay off.
It's not right.
Oh, yeah. And the terms of those loans are illegal in any other context in this country.
The rates are
loans
are ridiculous.
Right. Only student loans are allowed for this kind of loan shark kind of model. And it's not the government.
So much wrong.
It's Wall Street.
Yeah, of
These
course.
bankers are the ones who went to Washington, D.C., and got a bunch of congressmen who were asleep at the switch to rubber stamp what they wanted.
Somehow live with themselves.
It's amazing. There's some kind of, I think there's some kind of sedative that they must hand out in Congress
just enough.
that allows them to just sleep at night when they do incredibly stupid or immoral things.
Okay, so your son serves with you in Iraq, in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
You both are there. What made you move to Spokane? So
Did.
Yeah, he did. I know. Tell me this story. And first of all, if anybody wants to check, because might even put the link in our podcast, but in the description of the podcast. But the PBS NewsHour does a piece on you in the last 2 years. I mean, like an 8-minute piece.
Yeah, this was actually just in last spring.
Just last year.
Last spring.
So your son is also Bajun.
Yeah.
Mavawalla.
He is the smarter,
Mavawalla.
better-looking version.
Yes.
Who speaks Japanese instead of Russian.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah, he went to the same language school that his mother and I went to. He learned Japanese.
Wow.
I would have failed the Japanese course. It's brutal.
This is a smart dude.
He's a very smart dude.
And also a decorated veteran, correct?
He was a combat veteran, and he led a team in Afghanistan, similar to mine, electronic warfare. And I will say this. In his 9 months, my son saw more action than I saw in 26 years service.
Wow.
And he did an excellent job under crap leadership. But there's an old saying in the Army, people don't quit the Army. They quit their leadership. And he had a terrible leader. And that's what led to those wounded soldiers. There was a young soldier. She told the platoon leader, the villages are saying that the road is booby-trapped. Don't go up the middle of the thing. Go around. You'll be safe. And this idiot marched him right up the middle. And I know there were at least 2 or 3 amputations and 3 traumatic brain injuries. Of course, when that happens, remember, these guys go and they're not seen or heard from again. And my son's unit was attached to these guys. Mm-hmm. So they don't know exactly what happened to these wounded soldiers. But I mean, when there's a leg laying in front of you, you know that one's been blown off.
For sure. Yeah. So he saw a lot of action.
He saw a lot of action.
And PTSD came from that. Did you experience that yourself?
Not like that.
But he did.
He did. we've both got PTSD. It's one of the amusing conversations that we have amongst ourselves. And his girlfriend is also an Afghanistan combat veteran, and she probably saw worse than either of us.
Really?
Because she was a combat medic.
What's her name?
That's Caitlin.
That's right. Okay.
So she, and she's in the PBS NewsHour videos as well.
And a
but
medic.
She was a medic.
Whew.
So yeah, they're there for everybody's worst day.
Yeah, and so these are bona fide heroes.
Oh yeah,
Your son and Caitlin.
yeah. I only work here.
Well,
I mean, look, I've got 3 Bronze Stars, but I want to make something clear. They were for service, not for achievement. There's a big difference, right? So if you ever saw like Band of Brothers, these guys that got Bronze Stars running through the guns, blowing up guns, I didn't do anything like that.
yeah.
You kidding? I don't know if I could.
But your son did.
Well, he didn't blow up guns, but I mean, he was on frontline action, small arms. Now, I was in battles and I got rocketed quite a lot, but that's a big difference.
Yeah.
You know, but each one of these things, let's put it this way: getting shot at or people trying to kill you is unpleasant. You were asking what it's like, actually, earlier.
Yeah.
I can tell you what
Is
it's
it
like.
surreal?
I can tell you exactly what it's like, exactly what it feels like to get shot at. So you've been driving and you have either a near miss or right before that accident, your heart stops and everything goes. It's like that every single shot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's what it's like.
That's a lot.
So that's what the PTSD is,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
It's that constant adrenaline rush.
Right.
And that's your survival instinct. That's
Right.
what keeps you
Alive.
and alert,
Right.
right?
Yep.
The problem is that the body doesn't have a make this go away switch.
Right. Yeah,
So it
that's
sticks with the veteran.
right. Right.
And the more they have seen, the longer it stays with them. And then there's that whole post thing. I've talked to a lot of veterans, nothing bothered them for years.
And then it hits.
And then years later,
Wow.
they can't sleep at night anymore.
Wow. So your son does his duty,
Yeah.
honorably discharged, I guess.
Oh, yes.
And then it decides now what, right? What am I going to
What?
do with life? And he moves here?
So he moves here because, and a lot of veterans look for serenity and peace and quiet.
Yeah, no kidding.
And he and his then wife bought 16 acres up in Valley by Waits Lake in the woods. It's a
Stevens
nice
County?
place. Beautiful Stevens County.
Not far from Spokane. Like, I don't know, how far?
It's a little
40
over
minutes?
an hour.
An hour
But
north.
so if you're in downtown, it's an hour and a half. If you're coming just
Oh,
into
wow, so it takes
Colbert
that
and
long.
to the north,
Okay,
it's it takes that long to cross town here,
yeah,
folks.
oh, I know. Yeah. Well, yeah, and when you win,
Well,
can you fix the north-south freeway? Anyway, I've heard that
That
a
is-
million times.
Foley passed that in the first place. I still am
We
amazed.
should have
that
had
people
this
are still
35
fighting.
years
Yeah,
ago. Underground at a fraction of the cost.
Could've,
but
yeah.
we kicked the Speaker of the House out. That was smart.
Yeah, that wasn't. That may have been a decision you could revisit.
Yeah. I know. You talked about, the cities. Afghanistan has gotten fixed overnight. We don't have
by
a north-south
comparison.
freeway. Give me a break. I swear to God. I mean, come on. Anyway, so why? So you move up here to follow your son? Or
So what
are you
happened
thinking?
is, remember I said I was in the pile drivers union. I'm a journeyman carpenter pile driver. The place that they bought, beautiful piece of land, horrible shack of a house and falling
Smart.
down barn.
Buy the fixer upper.
Right. And my son asked if I
Dad,
could come
help.
up. I'm retired. I had plenty of time. Sure, I'll come up and help him. And, we spent the summer and into the
Beautiful.
fall.
You must have fallen in love with it.
But in the meantime,
It's always a girl. Come on.
Beiji meets Kate, and they move in together down in Spokane.
Okay.
And she's got 2 kids of her own, plus an adopted kid.
Okay.
Beiji's got his son who comes out, so they've got a family with 4 kids and
Yeah.
lots of comings
Brady
and
bunch.
goings.
Yeah,
and,
lots of stuff going on.
Beiji's been working construction.
And so you guys you have acreage here and he's got acreage here.
I
you just-
bought
yeah.
with on advice I went ahead and bought 40 acres when it came up for sale next to my son's. It doesn't touch, but you could probably throw a rock from
Gotcha.
the corner of his.
Yeah,
to
your
mine.
neighbors.
And so I bought that 40 acres. It's undeveloped, but I live on his place, and I've been slowly but surely fixing the place up and cleaning it up and getting it going and all. My latest project is a gabion wall. So I'm building a stone wall.
Very good. You showed me a picture. That's amazing.
So the thing is, though, is that he's moved down here. So now I'm kind of...
Oh, you're up there by yourself?
I'm up there by myself.
Thanks a lot.
And I thought I was going to be living a quiet, country bumpkin life up there.
And then
things changed.
So tell me what happened. And this is why you're running for Congress.
It's not why I'm running for Congress. I'll tell you what keeps a fire lit under me.
Yeah.
And it was certainly the catalyst to get me into this race.
That's fair.
Because I've been politically active. You told me yourself since I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
Right? So good research on that one, by the way.
Oh, thanks. Well,
the spokesman hasn't asked me that question.
That's a good story. I like it. It might even be true.
Yeah.
You are running for office.
The thing for the seminal event, if you can say it, is my son had protested against ICE on June the 11th last year.
This is the Ben Stuckert event, right?
This is the Ben Stuckert's 2 charges that were here, by the way, perfectly legally.
They were. Absolutely perfectly legal.
ICE just arrested him.
Right. I got that text too that day, or from Ben.
Yeah.
I was like, "Whoa, what's Ben doing?" Oh
well, oddly enough, Beji didn't.
It was a Facebook post or something.
Beji saw it on Reddit.
Okay.
Hours after this stuff had all started.
Okay.
Right.
Huh.
So he went down at 5 in the afternoon. Yeah, I think it was 5 in the afternoon that he got there. I didn't know these details until sitting through this court stuff and going through all the defense things.
Home.
But, I knew he was at the protest and, got a picture of him eating on a popsicle and saying, we're out here.
Hanging out, mate. Yeah. Just,
and
a perfectly legal thing.
He and Kate lived, my mother came up for a visit. I tried to, as often as I could, bring my mother on trips and stuff like that.
She's still alive? How old is she?
My mother died a month ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So
that's
actually,
right. You're right here.
That's why Saturday I'm going down.
You're going to go
service.
down. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Wow. How old was she?
84.
Wow, that's a good
so
life.
She led a very full life from a poor girl in Oklahoma that came out on a car with salvaged tires to have traveled overseas and owned land and
what a life.
Led a really interesting
and raised
life.
A great kid.
My brother. So so mom came up and she said to Beji and to Kate, "You guys need a bigger house. You need it now, not later." And Beji and Kate sort of like, you're right. Especially when all the kids are there. There's 4 kids in the house.
Yeah.
The old house they were in. So I have a truck, as you've seen my giant Bajun mobile driving all around.
Yes, I have.
Well, I have the truck, and I have a 20-foot cargo trailer. So I brought the trailer down. I brought the truck down. We were all ready to move them from their old place on 34th Street over to their new place. A mile and a half.
Yeah,
not very
across
far,
town,
right? And so I'm sleeping on my grandson's little bed downstairs. Paige and Kate are upstairs.
This is in Spokane, yeah.
In Spokane. And all of a sudden there's a pounding on the door. I open up the door, and there's 2 FBI agents in full kit saying they want to arrest my son. And they've got a herringbone formation, bunch of vehicles, 10 agents all around the street and everything, all loaded up and armed and everything, to arrest Beji. FBI agents. Now, it's not like the FBI could be out catching bank robbers, human traffickers, drug smugglers, pig butcher,
thieves.
cyber criminals, all of this sort of stuff. No, they're out there to arrest a non-violent protester in Spokane, Washington.
With a funny name.
With a funny name, and there's more to that. But the thing is that I'm like, show me your warrant. They refused to show the warrant.
Really?
Yeah. Now, again, I was
Maybe
a
there
little
wasn't
rusty.
one.
I've been out of the service for 15 years. I was a little rusty on knock warrant versus a no knock warrant. I was trained as a military police officer, right? But they had a no knock warrant. It doesn't really matter. It's just crap, right? That's not the way you do things. But the FBI, quite frankly, they were pretty professional.
I'm sure.
They were not wearing masks.
That's good.
I don't have any real qualms with the FBI or the
with those
agents
people
themselves.
and how they did it,
Right. They were doing their duty.
Did their job, yeah.
I have a problem with the criminals that sent them there, like Kash Patel and Pam Bondi. That's where my problem lies. But that's another story. We'll get to this one here. So I open the door, and eventually they arrest Beji. That's all on the video.
Yeah.
That's on the PBS NewsHour story.
It is.
The video I did of it, I put it on Facebook. It went viral. The only Facebook post on my personal thing that ever went actually
Smart.
viral.
Wise of you to film it.
But Beji was charged with conspiracy. This is an 1865 law that was designed to catch the Klan and the Civil War rebels that were still wandering around the hills of Tennessee, fighting against Union occupation force. That's what conspiracy law was designed for, not to catch nonviolent protesters.
Particularly when the nonviolent protester is a decorated war hero.
Well, this is the ridiculous thing. My son held a top secret security clearance. Never been arrested. No threat. It was 5 weeks after the protest. They had plenty of time. They knew that there was no threat to them or my son. They could have sent him a freaking letter and he would have shown up.
Right.
Let's remember something, that when a particular former real estate developer was arrested for all kinds of crimes, they let him drive himself to the New York Police Department. He was never put in handcuffs or anything like that. They put my son in handcuffs. They treated him, they had a bunch of armed guys out on the street as if he was going to come out guns a-blazing. Again, my son rescued 40 Afghan refugees after the war, half of them minors. He has never had any kind of law enforcement violation. He had a top secret security clearance, and they call him an insurrectionist.
I don't think they did their homework. I don't think they knew who they
They
got.
damn well knew. This was show and tell.
They did know.
The whole point of this was to scare everybody. So to scare people like you or anybody else that thinks that they will
can take
protest.
this guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
The idea is to scare people so that they're too afraid to protest their government. Our entire country exercise their First Amendment rights. This entire country was founded on the right to protest. This is a country that cheers about the Boston Tea Party. Right. This is a country that cheers about all of us fighting for our freedom of speech and for the civil rights movement and for the women's rights movement. And we fought a civil war to guarantee that every person in this country had access to those freedoms. And this administration has the audacity to come to Spokane, Washington, where there was a nonviolent protest where nobody was hurt. There was 34 people arrested on the day of that protest, by the way. My son wasn't among them. Spokane PD, Sheriff's Department, didn't think my son did anything worth arresting.
But these guys did. The FBI.
Because what their goal was to go after minorities and to set an example and frighten people from protesting. Now, others took plea deals, and I can't fault them for that. Right? It's the old Monty Python. Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. Well, nobody expects the FBI to come and arrest you for a nonviolent protest. Martin Luther King was never arrested by the FBI. Cesar Chavez was never arrested by the FBI. Margaret Sanger was never arrested by the FBI.
But your son
John Lewis,
Your son was.
Jesse Jackson, none of them were arrested by the FBI. They were arrested by local authorities. They sent the FBI. Kash Patel sent his agents who are trained to do important work to protect this country to arrest a nonviolent protester. And, by the way, let's just remember a couple of other things. During the trial, we weren't allowed to mention that the first U.S. attorney resigned rather than bring these charges. We were not allowed to talk about the First Amendment during this trial.
So
that jury has no idea of all the
So
circumstances.
the U.S. attorney that oversees Spokane in this region quit under protest because of this.
Yes.
And actually went on record, and it's in the PBS NewsHour, saying that piece that they did, saying, I couldn't live with myself. I had to quit because this was just so wrong.
Well, apparently Rebecca Perez and Cartier-Giroux, Lisa Cartier-Giroux, don't have that kind of conscience, even though they had the example right in front of them.
They're the people who took over.
They're the people who took over this case. And then Pam Bondi came in and appointed Pete Serrano, who's illegally appointed. He's still there sucking up a paycheck. He was not confirmed by the Senate back in December, yet he is getting a full-time paycheck. I thought Michael Baumgartner is supposed to be protecting our financial interests. Why are we paying this clown?
Right.
That guy's never prosecuted a case in his entire life, and he was appointed as a U.S. attorney. And Todd Blanche still keeps this guy on payroll. Your tax dollars at work.
So that led you to, you remember the day you went, screw it, I'm running?
No, it wasn't like that. Actually, what I was doing was I was I had been campaign manager for Dr. Bernadine Bank.
Okay, yeah.
So I knew a bunch of people around the district, and I wanted everybody to know what the hell was going on because people didn't know. And as I traveled around Walla Walla, Dayton, and up home, and the American Legion and my VFW post, and told them about it, they're like, no, we didn't know this was going on, right? I started getting something I didn't expect. They said, well, you should run for Congress.
Sometimes you look around and it's you.
And I'm like, that wasn't the plan here.
But you heard it
you
heard it more than once.
I heard it quite a bit. And then every single person, you know who the most unpopular person on any campaign is? It's the campaign manager.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Right?
They got all
because we're the jackass on the whole
work,
team that tells everybody what to do and blah, blah. Every single member of Bernie's team except one is a volunteer for me now. Yeah. And they also said, you've got to do this. Yeah. So eventually I said, okay, I'll tell you what. I'm an intel officer, staff officer. I said, we will go through a decision-making process. I will form an exploratory committee, and we're going to ask the tough questions on whether this is something that's stupid. Because I'm not going to do this just to try and draw attention for my son's case. I was doing that without running for Congress.
Right. You don't
right. I got it in the Guardian worldwide, right, without running for Congress.
You don't need that.
Yeah. I didn't need to do that. And I certainly didn't need it for my ego. When I was a young man, maybe. I'm 61. I have other things to do with my time now. But I said the first question, this is Eastern Washington. Will people vote for a guy named Bajun Mavawalla? And if you're not smart enough to ask that question, you're an idiot.
Right. That is job one right there.
Right?
Yeah.
And oddly enough, and to the credit of all of our friends and neighbors and our communities across Eastern Washington, I don't want any
every district
across north, south, east, and west, the small towns and everything, that wasn't an issue.
In fact, it's kind of fun.
But
the
people that it is an issue, they wouldn't vote for a guy like me in a million years anyway.
100%.
So it didn't matter.
Right. Well, and you're not exactly a really far left guy.
No.
I mean, you're a gun owner, right?
Yeah. Look, I live on a small farm up there.
County.
If you call the police and you're lucky enough, where's our infrastructure money? Hey, Michael Baumgartner, where is our infrastructure money? Because I still don't have broadband or cell coverage. So if I'm lucky enough to get the police, it's 30 to 45 minutes before they get there to where I live. All my neighbors are armed. I am armed.
You should be. It's
Right?
It's common
It's
sense.
Eastern Washington.
Right.
Right? So for our, going around and talking to people, I believe in the Bill of Rights, the First Amendment. That's what's got my son going now. I believe in the Second Amendment. I believe in the Fourth Amendment. Did you know that ICE agents can write their own damn warrants and kick in your door? They don't have to explain to a judge or anybody.
That's not right.
That's not right. That's not American. Fifth Amendment rights. I mean, all of these things, that's the Bill of Rights. That's the holy grail.
That's why we're here.
That's
what makes us America.
all about, right? They weren't going to pass a constitution without that.
Right.
Without that Bill of Rights. That's what we're about. That's what makes us American.
And that's really what's driving.
Is that Democratic or Republican?
Neither.
I'm in favor of a powerful, nonpartisan military. You never use U.S. troops on U.S. soil against U.S. persons. Is that Democratic or Republican?
Neither.
I'm in favor of taking care of our veterans, honoring the contract for the men and women who have served this country so that they have access to the VA hospital. They can get their VA loans. They have the veteran services that they were promised by the American people. Is that Democratic or Republican?
Neither.
Those are the things that I'm running. And I'm talking about a balanced budget amendment. That used to be,
Oh my gosh.
that was conservative Democrats and Republicans
I mean,
used to be talking about a balanced
It's only
budget
happened
all
once.
the time.
Clinton's the only one to do it.
Obama did it, I think, 1 year. But remember, that was not an actual balanced budget. That was that year. They balanced the budget. Then,
It's been crazy since.
I'm in favor of free trade.
Yeah.
That is, again, that's what Republicans used to. I heard free trade from every Republican I ever talked to for
Right.
40 years.
Right.
Those are things I'm
You
in
have
favor
a lot of old Republican stances that you
and
support.
because they
actually.
were
So
right.
It is
A
right.
balanced budget, free trade, those are sound economics.
Yeah. Especially if you own a business.
That shouldn't have ever been considered a Republican thing. That's just good economics. So those are the things that I want to talk about. I want to talk about having a farm bill.
Oh, the farmers have been.
The farmers are suffering from this. These tariffs are killing the farmers.
Gas prices are killing them.
Gas prices, that's what happens when you do stupid wars, right? By people that don't know what they're talking about. And do not mistake me for somebody that likes Iran or wants to be soft on that regime. They are torturers. They are murderers. They are a horrible, horrible group of people. But it would cost an unbelievable amount of blood and treasure
what's
to
the old
overthrow them.
Princess Bride line from Princess Bride? Never get in a land war in Asia. I mean, isn't that what we're doing here?
It kind of is.
Kind of is.
Kind of is.
I mean, that's duh.
And I've been on both. I've bookended that country,
Yeah.
right, with Afghanistan and Iraq, and I can tell you,
It's a big country.
It is a very, very big place.
We'd be there a long time.
We would be a very long time, and the fact of the matter is, the fastest way to deal with it is do what the Obama administration did, along with Russia, China. I want to emphasize that again. Russia, China, the UK, the Germans. We were all in this, and we negotiated with Iran and basically pushed them up against the wall and said, you're going to do this, and we're going to inspect these sites so you don't try to be sneaking any of this crap in under the wire. And we got that deal, and then this knucklehead comes in and throws it away. And now we have a congressman here who's been to Iraq and to Afghanistan and is actually telling the people of this district that, what a great idea it is to go in. We should be fighting this war with Iran.
Why
He
are
goes
we
and he
spending
tells
$1
us.
billion a day? That's the part that pisses me off.
Well,
Like, what are we talking about
$1
here?
billion a day so our children and grandchildren
and the
could pay
gas
even more.
prices are crazy, and it's like, come on, what are you talking about?
That's what it is. That's actually the secondary and tertiary effects are inflation, are high gas prices.
Interest rates not
But
going down.
the only
like they should.
accomplishment, really, is that we have made the government of Iran stronger.
Right. And now we don't know how to get out of it.
Well,
Seen this movie.
yeah. Sure. those of us who were in Iraq have definitely
So
seen
as
it.
you've traveled around this region and you've covered it a lot for the last, I don't know, 8 months, 10. I mean, you've been on this
Several.
trip.
I guess I started the exploratory committee around the end of November.
Okay.
So there were discussions.
So 6 months anyway.
October.
7. Yeah. What surprised you the most? And what do you love about it?
Okay, I know I'm a little weird. I actually like people, even people that disagree with me, and I love learning. So I love meeting members of different communities, learning what's going on, what's important to them, and all that. I actually love that stuff. That was what I always liked about politics from the time I was a little kid.
Have you run into people that completely disagree with you, but how'd that go?
Oh, I'm used to it. All right. I mean, look, I was the Democrat in the Army. I was the Democrat in the pile drivers, right? I'm the Democrat at my Veterans of Foreign Wars
The
and
proud
American
one.
Legion
Yeah.
things, right? But you know, so I mean, and my mama's family's from Oklahoma. You know,
Pretty
this is
rad.
not the first time I've ever run across. It's not like I grew up on a hippie commune.
Right. No, exactly.
Right? I mean, we're on a ranch. We killed animals. You know. So, the thing is it hasn't been like some sort of confrontational thing, and it hasn't. Nor is it the Zen and the art of motorcycle maintenance. Right? This campaign is not an eat, pray, love event. It's a discussion. It's discovery. It's not enough to listen. You know, you'll hear a lot of politicians saying, you know, well, I've been listening to okay, great. That's not communication. By definition, communication is information conveyed, information received, information confirmed. That's why hitting send on an email is not communication. Right? So when I'm going out and talking to folks, I've learned some amazing things. Some of the stuff just plain fun, right? I mean, go to the museums in these small towns. Seriously.
Yeah. No
Go
kidding.
to the
I've
Ag
spent some
Museum
time. Yeah, I
down
did
in
that.
Pomeroy or the old grist mill down there. I'll tell you one that's fun. If you go to the old flour mill in Pomeroy, do you remember the Bugs Bunny cartoons?
Yeah,
They'd
of
have
course.
the sack of flour with
Yeah.
XXX
Yes.
on it. Guess where that flour sack comes from?
No way.
Absolutely.
Pomeroy? No way.
Pomeroy.
Get out of here.
Yeah,
Look at this stuff in
XXX. It's on the bags. They got a bunch of the bags there. That's where Bugs Bunny
Well,
gets that
and
from.
I've done a lot of work. I've said this before, but we do a lot of work in sort of small towns around here for a lot of our clients and tell those stories. And over the last 10, 15 years, I have seen that we have forgotten our rural small towns. We have just completely abandoned them and left them nothing.
And it's a
And
great weekend. We live in such a rich heritage area, and you don't even have to spend a lot of time at all of them. You know,
need help.
Take a loop around here. If you go down the highway and some of these little railroad stops,
Yeah.
stop at them. You know, in Waitsburg,
Yeah.
they've got a little
Waitsburg's a rad.
well, Waitsburg has got some new redevelopment stuff in downtown. Go to the Royal Block. Go to the Wolfling coffee shop. They're revitalizing their downtown, and it's so picturesque.
But there's also towns like
And then-
Starbuck that are just dying.
Yeah, Sprague, it's really
I
suffering.
mean, we're spending $1 billion a day in Iran to fight a stupid war.
where we could be investing.
We could be investing in these small towns, and they really
Yeah.
need it. I mean, they just do.
Go, you know, there's bad news out there, right? The one big beautiful bill, and again, Baumgartner thinks that's a great thing. It's got a time bomb in it. It's got several, but the big time bomb for our district is that the rural hospitals will lose their funding.
Yeah.
If you shut down the hospital in Dayton, that hospital is actually the largest employer in the town.
Wow.
That town will wither up and dry away.
And
All
it's a
the
beautiful
businesses
town.
there.
I love
it's
that
a
town.
beautiful town.
Dayton's like We film there all the time. It's like, you want to shoot small town America?
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
But look at the courthouse there, the
Yeah.
courthouse
Oh my
in
God.
Garfield
So
County.
cool.
I mean, those are pieces of art.
They really are.
And
It's America, man.
we can go out there and see them. Go up to Newport
Yeah.
and stop at their little museum.
Oh yeah.
It's
I drive by all the
great.
time, yeah.
Or up in Republic.
Yeah.
You know, the old mine stuff that's up there.
So you've fallen in love with these little places.
Well, I've always loved small towns. So if you go back on my Facebook when I was driving back and forth across the country for my little business stuff, I would find amazing little stuff just by stopping and look. So, look, I grew up with the kind of parents that when you're driving out there and then, sign a giant rocking chair.
Yeah.
Let's go see it. No, we're not going to. No. So
So you get to
I stopped there, right? My kids, biggest ball of twine in Minnesota, you damn right we're stopping.
That's hilarious.
Right? So, but here, there's so much amazing small stuff. Little veterans memorials,
Yeah.
little tidbits of history from people that came from our
Yeah.
small towns or the things that they developed up here. In World War II, there was a mineral deposit that's made to make fire brick that is one of only 2 places in the entire United States that can withstand the heat that it takes to make steel. During World War II, our entire steel industry was dependent upon a mine not far from Chihuahua.
Yeah. See,
I don't remember the name of
all this stuff is.
of the stuff they were mining up there.
So what makes you think you can win?
Well, there's a couple of things. You have 2 ways to run a campaign. And one of them is you can spend all your time on the phone shaking down rich people for money. Or the other thing is you can go to the voters and ask them to vote for you. I'm doing the latter. But it's also being honest.
Showing up.
Showing up does, what is it? Woody Allen said, 90% of success is just showing up.
Yeah, 80, yeah. Sure,
Right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, not all candidates do. There's 11 candidates running in this race right now for second place. 12 if you add Baumgartner, rounds it out.
Wow.
Right? But not all of them show up. And some of them are major candidates, don't always show up. Now I'm saying that, and I'm not going to be here Saturday, which is all kinds of events going on, like the Democratic Party salmon feed. But I'm going to be at my mother's service, so I'm going to put my family first in that particular case. But otherwise, I go, no matter how far the drive is or whatever else. Why? Because this district's the size of Maryland. And if you're not willing to go out and talk to your voters, you don't deserve the damn job. So Michael Baumgartner says he's going to do a town hall in Walla Walla. And 2 days beforehand, he tells them, security concerns, I'm canceling this. Now, he still made it down to a big ticket dinner to make money. But he didn't do the town hall because he was afraid for his security. This is a guy that was working in Iraq and Afghanistan, and he's afraid of his constituents in Walla Walla? Come on.
He just doesn't want the fire.
He doesn't want to be criticized.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
That's the gig.
Try another job. Walmart's hiring. Right? I go up to Chihuahua. It is not a bastion of liberal thought. Right? And this guy opens his door, and it turns out he's a California transplant, but he's been here 20-something years, right?
Almost
And we
qualified.
talked about a whole bunch of stuff. And he says, you know what? I disagree with about 60 to 70% of everything you say. But you've listened to every idea I've had. You've told me why. And you've actually stood here and had a discussion with me, and no one has done that in all the time I've lived here.
I mean,
He says, I want to vote for it.
The job is representative.
There you go. That's exactly what the job title is. Representative. And one of the things that Michael Baumgartner, and he's not alone in this. This is an excuse kind of across Congress, is, well, we don't have any legislation for that. Say that phone of yours.
Yeah.
That's kind of a nice phone, right?
Yeah.
Wow. You know, this phone weighs 500 pounds. You know how I know that? Because Michael Baumgartner never picks the damn thing up. Hey, the VA has fired 135 workers. Hey, Secretary Collins of the VA, what the hell are you doing? You are not going to fire 135 people in my district. 10% of this district are veterans. Why? Why you're not going to do it? Because I'm their congressman and I asked you to. That's not legislation.
Yeah, it's representing.
That's representing. That's the job.
So,
nice phone.
Thanks. So, of the time I think one of the biggest things that I've noticed is just your name. What's the worst it's ever been pronounced? How do people usually say? What do you hear?
That is an impossibility.
Look, my last name is not easy. People butcher it. I can't imagine yours.
Well, it's easy for me. Because it's Slavic for freedom.
Yeah, you studied. That's true.
Your name means
Swoboda.
freedom.
That's true. It does. Yeah, but yours, we did a little filming and it was Bajun.
That was fun.
People said Bajun. Almost everybody.
Bajun.
Bajun.
Bajun. I get down in California where there's a lot more people savvy to Spanish. I get a lot of Bajuns. I can't tell you the worst. I can tell you my favorite because one guy came up with a totally original one when I was in recruiting school in beautiful Camp Robinson, Little Rock, Arkansas.
Oh boy.
And he was from Mississippi. And I can't remember his name for the life of me, but I can see him and hear his voice. And every time they would call my name, doing roll, he'd say, "Mouthful of water?"
Bajun, mouthful of water. It's like
that one was original.
That
one was original.
That's pretty good.
But oddly enough, here I am, and one of the places I'm running is Walla Walla. And when I grew up, I would get Mavawalla. Are you from Walla Walla? Well, look, that's funny the first 735 times. After that, it starts getting a little old, right? Yeah. So Walla Walla has been sort of the bane of my existence. It's so nice that it's such a nice little town.
It's so nice they named it twice.
Right.
That's what they always say.
No, so
how do you tell people how to say it?
So these days, what I've been trying to do to make it easy for people is I say Bajun rhymes with Cajun, right?
Yeah.
Mavawalla rhymes with Walla Walla, and they get that. And I'll let them know if they still have trouble, just remember that backwards it's Alawavum Najab, and they'll have no trouble.
Well, I appreciate the time you've spent because I know how busy you are and how many places you've been going. And I'm impressed with your passion and your intellect and your toughness, and you're willing to kind of talk to anybody.
Well, flattery will get you anything
no, I mean,
you want
I'm
out
not
of me.
I'm just saying that it's been impressive. I mean, that's what you want from somebody that represents you, I think. And I've been around some people that actually, I got introduced to you through people that are actually related to Tom Foley, the guy whose seat you have, who there are a lot of things about you that remind me of him. Honestly, you kind of look like the guy a little bit. I mean, I worked on his last two campaigns. He was a friend of my dad's. He was, the Speaker of the House of Representatives and one of the great statesmen in this country's history.
That is true.
And you are representing, you are walking into that same position, and to have family members of him say, "This is the guy that is the closest that reminds me the most of Tom," has to be something. So I'll give you that. I'll cheers you, and I thank you for
thank you.
Drinking my whiskey.
That would be big shoes to fill.
Well,
but I take it seriously.
Yeah, good.
I mean, look, I will crack jokes and everything else, but this is serious business, and the people of this district deserve to have somebody who's dedicated to their welfare, to what's good for them.
And maybe a north-south freeway. Thanks, man.
Let's
Appreciate
go.
it. Thanks for being on this.
MIP Podcast was filmed at the studio of Corner Booth Media. Please sure to like, subscribe, and follow us on social media. You can also listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music, and anywhere podcasts can be found.
We'd love it if you'd rate, review, and subscribe to help our podcast grow. Be good to yourself and stay interesting.